She is such a powerful person, the most powerful person,
of course she
teacher
is.
in my life. She's teaching me.
Who else do you know who would come forth with that kind of intensity and have that kind of experience and survive it?
And I'm lucky to have her in my life.
You are deliberate.
I'm deliberately.
You're deliberate to have her in your life. You are fortunate to have her in your life, but there's no luck involved. It's vibrational match, vibrational match, vibrational match to the vortex. Oh, so much delicious stuff ahead of you. But you know what? The delicious stuff is contingent upon leaving the other stuff behind. Don't go back and psychoanalyze that. It's done. It doesn't matter. It was the launching pad for this. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
This is where it's at. It's really interesting. Sometimes people nostalgically look back toward good times, but humans, you look nostalgically back toward bad times too. like in order to understand where you are now, you have to understand that. And we say blah 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 blah. You don't have to understand that. That created that. So in almost every case, that happened which created that, and you're standing some way in between. And what you want to do is just look vortex, look forward toward the vortex. And the only reason we call it forward toward the vortex is because much that's in the vortex hasn't manifested. But it's not really forward, it's real time. Just look now to the vortex, now to the vortex, now to who you really are. Now to the manifestation of what you are together, the two of you and more. You are a manifestation together. It's a manifestation. It's a magnificent manifestation that's becoming more and more and more and more wonderful as you define more ways that it can.
Okay. When I go home after this beautiful cruise, and I'm with her again, and I know that the work is appreciating. I've had a very powerful experience, and she's actually...
The work isn't appreciating unless you're in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Don't say the work is appreciating when you're focused upon... The work is to feel as good as you can feel from where you are, and appreciation sometimes is too far of a reach. So you got to go general. You've got to... The work for you is to break down those specifics and make them more muted, less vivid. You have too much of that still active in your mind, and of course it's logical why you would, but it's painful, so cut it out. So then you want to, but you can't just stop it altogether unless you want to meditate 24 hours a day, and you don't, or sleep. So you're going to be conscious and awake, and because you're involved with her, and because you're watching evidence of her behavior, then you keep going back to that and trying to explain this behavior because of that. So as you keep trying to explain her now behavior based on what you think you know about that, you just get caught in this spiral of you then losing your relationship with the vortex. And when you lose your relationship with the vortex, she freaks out. She's not freaking out because she's responding to a tragedy that happened to her before. She's freaking out in response to the tragedy that's happening to her now because she's got a mother outside the vortex.
Yeah.
You see. So when you feel that happening, just don't let it go so far. Go general. Yeah. So what can you say that's generally negative about some of the stuff that goes on? Generally negative. We don't want the specifics. Generally negative. It's not fun. It's hard work.
It's not who I am.
It's more intense. It's more intense than I thought it was going to be. It's not what I thought I was signing on for. I don't like it very much. I wish the cruise was 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It's not really what I'm really not wanting that discomfort. So pretty good, general. Now let's go let's lean more positively. There are a lot of things that I really like about that relationship and being there. Now that might be too strong. We might have got too positive or even too specific too fast. A lot of things about it I like. And I really like figuring this out. And I do believe that we're together for a very powerful reason. And I like the idea of together discovering the fullness and the sweetness of that. And I really do not believe that just because I'm a solution to a problem, that the problem has to stay eternally active. I think that the solution to that problem is leading us to the basis of so much more life. I believe that I can get into the solution vibration and at some point leave that problem completely behind. we can deactivate that by activating other things, because this is now, this is life now. That was a moment in time, but this is a moment in time. No one is ever eternally scarred, because no one can keep active any vibration. No one can keep a vibration vividly active, because life keeps diluting it. That's what the basis of all of this other interaction is. So life is already watering that down and diluting it, and I'm sure not going to be the one, you're saying, that's going to keep shining a spotlight on that. It's time to move on from that. It's time to move on from that. And now I found my peace with this. Now I understand why we're together. I felt the resonance of that as Abraham spoke it. I felt it powerfully and deeply. I know it. And so now we're just going to figure this out as we go. And it's going to get better and better and better. It's already much better than it once was. It's just going to continue to get better and better and better. And I am no longer going to fear letting myself believe in how good it can be. That's part of what's been hanging me up. I'm afraid to believe that it can be really good, for fear I'll be disappointed when it isn't. But I'm going to let myself trust this process. I'm going to let myself come into alignment with who I really am. I'm going to allow myself to believe in my alignment, and I'm going to enjoy watching every little piece of evidence that shows itself. And what a good experience I have here, because I've got this pure little being who is really a powerful reflector, not of what happened then.
It's not connected. Yeah.
Not of what happened then. Her emotional responses are about what's happening now.
So I'm traumatizing her, not just kidding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's how it works.
No, I hear you.
Here's how it works. Here's how it works. Something can set you off your balance. And if you keep thinking about it, it will keep setting you off your balance. But sooner or later, you're going to forget it until you meet someone who's remembering it. And then when you meet someone who's remembering it, especially when you're little like that. So when you meet somebody who's remembering it, then they, in their memory of it, and in other words, just hearing about it, you had the tragedy of it, you see, even though you weren't there. And so as you feel it, then you are an influence. Then you manifest through her behavior something that matches your vibration. Are you getting this? Do you get what the power of influence is? Let us say that again. So yes, as you ponder something awful that happened, and it's active in your vibration, then the manifestation that must follow that has to match that vibration. And isn't it logical that someone who was intimately tied to that could come to that? But the trauma that she's feeling isn't out of memory of that. It's because in this nowness, there's discord in the vibration.
Wow. So it's me, not her.
Well, it's both of you, yeah. But she wouldn't be doing it if you weren't doing it. She wouldn't be doing it so much if you weren't doing it. And now that we've been talking about this earlier, because we say to you, and you've been listening, and many of you parrot it, and you want it to be so. I'm the creator of my reality, and everyone else is the creator of their reality, and I'm not responsible for what others create. But there is power of influence. So when we talk about doing the vortex work, and by going to sleep, basking, by waking up, and making lists of positive aspects, by meditating, by maintaining your frequency, by getting in the vortex and recognizing that you are, and then milking it as much as you can when you're there. In other words, doing the vortex work, feeling good on purpose as best you can, and accomplishing a sizable amount of being in the vortex where you're feeling good much of the time. So as you're in the vortex and feeling good much of the time, what happens is manifestations that come to you have to come on that vibrational basis. They have to, no matter who you're interacting with. So you say, but what if I'm interacting with a child who's been traumatized? And we say, that child cannot maintain the vibration of trauma 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not possible. And if you are able to maintain your alignment in a more steady way, eventually you're going to rendezvous with something that matches that. And when you do, and you stop and acknowledge that it is a byproduct of your stability, it's a byproduct of your blending, it's a byproduct of your vortex work, now you're off and running, because now you've seen evidence of your power of influence, you see.
Yeah, and I've had that experience, and it's so interesting how I can have that experience and then go back.
Well, everyone does, but now you know what you're doing, and so you will do it less. Because most everyone is still dependent upon conditions to affect their vibration, rather than their vibration to affect conditions. And when we say, when you get it, that your vibration can affect conditions, then that's got to mean it can affect manifestations, and it can uplift other people, especially other people that are on the brink, that are teetering. We're not saying to you that you should choose some dysfunctional person and try to save them through the power of your focus. It's not your job to focus upon anybody enough to do that, but it is your job to focus upon your own alignment enough that you accomplish it enough that you are an influence of upliftment rather than an influence of deflation, you see. So when you hook up with someone like this, where your powerful intention is so deep-rooted, even back to before either one of you were born, you don't choose your parents through your bloodline. You choose them vibrationally. And sometimes you come to your soulmates later in life. Sometimes you come to them at birth. But it's not what's going on with the other people around you that matters. It's what's going on between you and the source within you that really matters. And it is so nice when at an early age you have put so much into your vortex and then have the delicious good fortune of meeting up with a new mother who understands the vortex, who can then apply a power of influence that will lead you from the problem, which was so awful, to the solution, which is its equal opposite. You see? The worse the problem is, the sweeter the solution is, you see. But you got to be solution-oriented before you get any of the sweetness.
So she won't need to go through any teenage angst, and she's done it.
It all depends on what happens between now and then. In other words,
so the contrast that we're putting in together is not a bad thing. Get it over with now.
It isn't a bad thing, but contrast is always a good thing if you're managing it, you see. That's the thing. Managed contrast is the most delicious life that could ever be. Unmanaged contrast will take you to your knees. Managed contrast is deliberate creation. It's like you gather up all those ingredients to make that wonderful sculpture. You never grab the clay and throw it down and say, oh, it didn't turn out right. That's really a mess. You expect to get your hands in it and to mold it and to get clear about what you want and for it to take the shape of what's in your mind or in your vortex, you say.
See, and I see that as work, and I don't want to see it as work. What you're talking about, I see that as work.
Well,
I immediately go to, I have to.
Well, it is. It is work.
It is work.
It is work. It is work to, it's easy to observe. It's harder to imagine. It just is. It's easy to use your physical senses to interpret vibration. Mm-hmm. It's harder to focus your mind into the vortex. But easy is boring. And regurgitation of what is. Focusing is creation. Mm-hmm. It's mastery. It's who you are. It's what you came to live. And we just go back. We know you'd rather win the tennis match with someone who is excellent than someone who is lousy. You just really, really like expansion. We just want it to be more joyful.